Hello YouTubers, today we're going to be looking at this reed switch pulse motor. And it's a little bit different than other ones I've built. We're using 18 volts today. We got a reed switch up here, our little fidget spinner we used for spinning. And the big difference today is an 1100 ohm coil. And of course we have a LED in the circuit there. Pretty simple circuit. Let's look at this bad boy. I decided it was time to get a steroid sized LED, if you will. Kind of cool looking at night. Kind of lights up there. What's actually inside there, there's a hole down there, and these little cheap flashlights, I take that array of LEDs out of there, and that's buried down in the hole. And then I took one of these things, just a spool for a regular type magnet wire, and trimmed it down for a holder. And I had this glass marble thing I found somewhere and put it right up top. Gave it an interesting look. The coil, though, is the main news on this motor. I have been working with these synchronous motors that you get out of the bottom of a microwave, or the oscillating type fans have them in it also. When you take this apart, you get down and find this guy. It has some really fine wire in there. And now normally the thinnest wire I've used is around 32 gauge, which is pretty easy to work with. This is much thinner. It's about the size of a hair or smaller. I can barely even see it. So what I did, I used one of these, took this part off where it had a circle, kind of trimmed it down, put it where I could spool it off onto the little spool here. Very carefully used my drill and wound up as much as I could before I ran into a problem. So this spool, the small one here, is not even filled up all the way. It's only about 70% full because I had a problem and I had to just stop right there. Otherwise, all what I had wound would have been wasted. Okay. I put the meter on it, came out at 1100 ohms. This reed switch here you can't see very good because it's painted over. It's coming up here, and there's a wooden dowel that's also painted red. I put a hole in the bottom to mount the dowel in to hold the reed switch. Okay, and when I started running it, I checked the reed switch for arcing. Absolutely nothing. Now, on a regular coil, which is 32 gauge wire, it would come out to about 11 to 15 ohms, something like that. Your reed switch in this type circuit would never survive. It would just fuse. The arcing at some point would just fuse it together and destroy it. So normally I would use a transistor to protect the reed switch, but this one, drawing so little current with that high ohmage resistance in this coil, took care of the problem. I can run 18 volts, nothing's going to happen to that reed switch. The other big plus on this thing is because of the low current draw, my batteries will last much longer. I've been running this thing a couple of days now, no problem. Same speed, still going real fast, and who knows how long it would run. But again, it's not as pretty as some of them I built, or as quite as fast as some of them, but as far as efficiency wise, it is really efficient. And I learned a little bit making this thing. So that's what I've been up to today.